guys, at the end of last year I made the decision that I wanted to get Invisalign braces. This was because I've always been a little insecure about my teeth, very insecure about my teeth, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a while now. I decided I wanted to vlog my progress with my Invisalign as a way of showing other people what the process is like. If you've got any questions, hopefully I'll be able to answer them. Hopefully I'd be able to guide you through your process too. When I went in for my initial Invisalign consultation last year, I was told that if I was to go ahead with the Invisalign treatment, I would only receive a compromised result. Now, this is because I have missing teeth. I don't have this second tooth here, which means this baby tooth here never got pushed out, and this big tooth grew here. So I'm never going to have perfect teeth. I don't have the teeth, which is perfectly fine with me. I also have a narrow jaw, which means, again, they can't necessarily position my teeth perfectly. And I also have a crossbite, which is in the process of being corrected. So that's good. That's one thing they can do for me. I've also been told that during this treatment I may lose this baby tooth, which means then I would have to look at options of replacing it or whatever I want to do with it, basically, or leave the gap there, or whatever I feel comfortable with. But considering it's going to change what I have now, which I'm very insecure about, I don't mind a compromise result. I never expected perfection. I knew I didn't have the right teeth, so anything is better than nothing. I had my first trays in for the last 2 weeks. That was no attachments or anything. They were just in there for me to get used to having them in there and start to change my routine to fit these in. What I'll say about the first trays is there was a little bit of discomfort, not too bad really. I did get a couple of ulcers. I found that where it's in behind your teeth here, your tongue tends to rub on it quite a lot to begin with, and I tended to find my tongue got quite sore from where the edges of the plastic were. I found after a couple of days this got better as the trays started to soften just slightly on the edges because they've been in my mouth. I did get a couple of sores up here as well, and a couple down here. Again, it was the edges of the trays rubbing against my mouth, and it's perfectly normal, and they didn't last very long, so it was okay. One of the biggest problems I found was actually my lips cracking. They got really bad. My mouth got really dry, and during this time when my mouth was really dry, they did split, so literally split all the way along, and I'd go to take my liners out, and as I went like this, they'd just crack and bleed, which nobody wants. So my biggest advice, if you get an Invisalign, get some Vaseline, get some Lipsol, anything, because your lips will get really dry. Obviously you're going to get slightly sore teeth. They're not used to having something pulling and pushing on them, and then that's what's there now. I found that I had a slight speech problem when I first put them in. In my job, I answer the phone and my greeting is full of S's, which I could not say for the life of me when I first put the retainers in. So that took a little bit of practice, but they do say to try and get rid of your lisp you should sing out loud, which is what I do all the time in my car. So I didn't find that bit too difficult. The removal I didn't find particularly difficult. On the first trays, I just put my fingers in at the back, cracked them up, and then pulled them forward, and they came out perfectly easily, top and bottom. They do advise you to obviously keep them very clean. They say to wash them with soap and water, or wash them with a brush and your toothpaste. I would advise not to wash it with soap. I made this mistake once, and all I could taste was soap, and it was disgusting. It was really horrible. I couldn't get rid of it for a little while, and I didn't like it very much. I'd say use your toothpaste. Just brush them when you brush your teeth, brush over your aligners as well, and it's fine. That's the better way to do it. I also find that I drooled just randomly with the trays in. I'd just be looking down and I'd just drool randomly, which is really strange because your mouth seems really dry a lot of the time. So to start drooling just seemed odd, but yeah, every now and again, just drool casually falls out. I'd be a little careful when you're detaching your retainers from your teeth. If you do drop them slightly, they do pinch at your skin if they catch. That's when putting your trays in, they do tell you need to bite down on something just to make sure they're sitting properly. I was told to just wrap up a piece of tissue and bite down on that. Personally, that makes me gag. I can't put tissue in my mouth. I don't like it. So I bought some Chewies, which are aligner setting tray setters or whatever they're called, and it's just a little bit of rubber and you just bite down on it along your teeth and it just makes sure they're in there, and they were so much better. They're about £2.50 from online, so absolutely fine. It took about 2 days altogether for my teeth and everything to start settling and for it to start feeling good. One plus is Invisalign stops you snacking. You can only have water while you've got your trays in, and if you do eat, you need to brush after every time you eat. So you tend to just not bother because it's too much trouble to take your trays out, eat a little snack and then brush. You tend to just eat a regular meal, and that's not a bad thing, really. It's really not. Brushing your teeth after every meal sounds a little bit kind of annoying, but I'll be honest, it's fine. Like, you just add in an extra couple of minutes each day to just brush after you've eaten every meal, and it's good. Public brushing is a little bit awkward still for me at the moment, I find, and I think probably everybody would have the same thing. It's a little bit weird saying McDonald's toilet to just pull out your toothbrush, but I'm sure apparently it just gets easier and you just forget about it. I'm currently at week 3 in my aligners, and they've just put on my attachments, which you can see here, all these lumps. I have a lot of attachments because of the problems I have with my teeth. I have 17 attachments top and bottom, which is more than the average person. Some people will have only 2, some people have only 1. It varies on each person, but I have 17. The whole process isn't very nice putting on the attachments. There's a lot of pushing and pulling and moulding and scratching and drilling. It's not drilling into your teeth, but like taking the surface off a little bit to put some stuff on. I don't know. And there's a lot of water and everything that sort of sprays, and it's not very nice, but once it's done, I suppose. They're on for the rest of the time unless they come away. They're quite sharp though, your attachments. They're like sharp bits of plastic, and I've found that even through the aligner they still feel quite sharp, and I'm expecting to get sort of sores. I've seen videos and read bits where you do get sores when you take them out because they are quite sharp. They're very, very tight compared to my first ones, and I know they're supposed to be, and I know that's them working, but they are very tight and they are now very hard to remove. Apparently this gets easier, the longer they stay in, it gets easier to remove them, but at the moment I'm having a bit of a nightmare, and I've had to completely change the way I take them out. To begin with, I just popped them out the back and pulled them forward, both top and bottom. Now I have to start on one side. I start from the inside, I pop it up, and then I have to almost peel it away to get them off of my attachments without it feeling like I'm literally pulling my teeth out. It's very painful. At the moment my teeth are very tender. I would expect them to be. Obviously this means that the treatment is working, but they are very tender, so I have started taking some ibuprofen now, a bit of a painkiller. It is helping, which is good, and I'm expecting the pain to sort of die down in the next couple of days anyway, judging from the research that I've done myself. This morning, for example, after I brushed my teeth, I went to put them back in. When I put them back in, around the front here were very, very sore. As soon as I clicked back at the back here, it pulled, and they hurt so much I actually couldn't bite down on my Chewy to get my retained set properly. It hurt too much. I had to wait a little bit to then bite on that afterwards. But I would suggest that you do try, but it can be very painful. I'm going to show you now how I remove mine. If you don't like spit, I suggest looking away. So this is the bottom one. I've removed that from the inside. And I just pull that forward, and that's the bottom one off. It's quite easy. You should know that you're putting them in right, because they do a little click when you put them in. You hear that click? So that's then set back down on my teeth. The top one is a lot more difficult to get out. Now that came out relatively easy compared to normal. The last couple of days I've had an absolute nightmare. I didn't think it was coming out yesterday at all, but that was partly because it hurt too much as well. But yep, to put that back in, this is where it's going to hurt again, putting it in. So as you set it back, you feel it just pull. After I've put them back in, again, I grab my chewy. This is my chewy. And fight down. Just to make sure they're set properly. And that's it. That's all I've got to say at the moment about my Invisalign. Like I say, they are quite sore and everything at the moment. I'm hoping things will start to improve, but I'll keep you up to date as I change my trays. Like I say, this is right at the very beginning of my second tray at the moment, so I'm sure things will start improving by the time I get onto my third tray.